Hi everybody, John Boutet, the Buffalo Sports Museum. Welcome to our next installment of In the Vault, the Buffalo Sports Museum. We had a request from one of our members. He wants to know what are the three, or I should say, what are the most valuable Sabres items to collect? And so we're going to talk about the three of those items tonight. I would say other than the game jerseys, the actual players' game jerseys, these three items that we're going to talk about are the hardest to find and probably the rarest. At least two of them are. And we start off right here with this puck. This puck dates from 1970, October 15th, 1970, which of course was the first home Buffalo Sabres game held at the Memorial Auditorium. And these were made up by the team and were given out to the first people who signed up to be season ticket holders. Most of those people came over from the American Hockey League Bison days, and they made 1,000 of these pucks, and they made them for those people. And they also went to some of the media members of the day, Rick Azar, Stan Barron, Van Miller, etc. This one actually belonged to Stan Barron, and he had it in his possession for the remainder of his life. And these pucks are just unbelievably hard to find. The numbers only, they had 1,000 of them, and the numbers are very, very low at this point. And one of the reasons I believe the numbers are so low is parents who had these, fathers and mothers who got a hold of these back in 1970, a lot of them were either given or confiscated by their children. And like most kids of the day, they would take it out and play with it. So I can imagine how many of these were shot into snowbanks or ruined in driveways and backyards back in that winter of 1970-71. There's not many of these left. If I had to guess, my guess would probably somewhere around 100. I do know several collectors that have these pucks, and they're very, very hard to find. The inaugural night, October 15th, 1970, the Sabres played the Montreal Canadiens. And in that game, Ken Dryden was not yet a member of the Canadiens. He was still at Cornell. And a future Sabre played goal for the Canadiens, Phil Muir. And Phil Muir shut the team out 3-0 that night. Dryden would come into the Canadiens midway through the season, towards the end of the season, and would lead the Canadiens to a Stanley Cup in 1971. The second item we'll talk about is the sword, this big sword. These were made up. There was 1,000 made up by the Sabres, and same thing, these were given out to the first people who signed up for season tickets. And they had these made up in England. The Wilkinson company that produced these had these engraved on the sword to commemorate the entry of the Buffalo Sabres into the National Hockey League 1970, Coach Punch Imlach. And these were actually numbered. So you'll see on the flip side of these, there's a 4-digit number starting with 0. It's kind of hard to see with the camera, but it says 0665. And these were done all the way up to 1,000. So it's a good way to tell which one you have. These are, of the three items we'll talk about, these ones here are the easiest to find. These come up for sale quite frequently, whether on Craigslist or eBay or through collectors. Many of these still exist. I believe for one simple reason, you weren't giving these to your kids. I mean, these were dangerous objects, and so these were probably put away in attics or closets or basements. So these actually survived. Like I said, these come up for sale every now and then. We'll go over to, I have to show you over here, the third item. Let me get this glass case open so we can take a peek in. And this is the Dagger. The Dagger is about a third, maybe a half size of the sword. And the daggers were made up as gifts to advertisers in the first season program. So if you took an ad out in the Sabres inaugural season program, you were gifted one of these daggers. And they say the exact same thing as the sword. This one actually belonged to Seymour Knox III, who gifted it to a man in England, believe it or not, as a thank you for letting the Knox family stay in their home on a golf trip to Royal Lytham, St. Anne's. So that's a pretty nice item right here, and it's still in its original presentation case. And these by far are the hardest of the three items to find. The Dagger hardly ever comes up for sale. Maybe once every 3 or 4 years you'll see one up for sale, but these just do not show up. When one does, it's big money. We're talking big money. So these, again, were not given to kids to play with, so these were probably put away. The thing that makes these the rare of the three is these are only 100 made, not 1,000 like the pucks and the swords. So these ones are the hardest of the three to find. So if you happen to find one of these, or a sword or a puck, and you would like to find a home for it, you need help, please give me a call, send me an email or a message, and I'll work with you to try to find a buyer for those things, because these are very, very rare to find. So so that's our episode for tonight. Hope you find the show informative. We love doing it. We've got a lot of requests coming up, a lot of great feedback. We have these on YouTube, as you know, and we've actually found a lot of people on YouTube finding this, and not just members of the Buffalo Sports Museum. So it's been a big success. We'll keep doing it. Glad you enjoy it. Anyway, have a great night. Sabres starting on Wednesday. Bills are going to the divisional round. Everything's looking good in Buffalo sports. Have a great night. Take care, and we'll see you next episode on the Inside the Vault, the Buffalo Sports Museum.